Mastercard has actually instructed financial institutions to stop allowing marijuana transactions on its debit card. This is a major blow to the cannabis industry, which, as we know, already has a rocky relationship with the financial system in the U.S. Anyone selling THC or even CBD products understands this quite well, because most banks in the country won't service cannabis companies. We have this very odd system where it's illegal at the federal level, but it is legal at some state levels. Now, there is a bill going through Congress called SAFE. I feel like they missed a big opportunity to call this like the Dank Bill or something. So that's on Chuck Schumer, which would allow marijuana companies to access banking services. But senators have basically said, like, this is not going to pass. It's a long shot. The last thing I'll say is a cannabis consumer study asked people, would they purchase marijuana with cash, debit card, or credit card? And 63.5% of consumers say they would choose cash for probably obvious reasons. Neal, I did see you throw out your debit card this morning and get a bunch of cash together. Is that related to this news at all?
I can't confirm or deny that. It is crazy to me that this is over a $30 billion industry right now, that in legal sales, $30 billion. And the overwhelming majority of those transactions are happening in cash. I mean, you have dispensaries that are paying their taxes by bringing duffel bags of cash. And this is the main criticism of not having a relationship with banks, or one of them, from the cannabis industry, is that it creates a lot of safety concerns for dispensaries. There's been an uptick in theft at various dispensaries. Last summer, there were a bunch of articles about how Washington State was experiencing a big surge in violence and theft at dispensaries. And so because I'm walking around Brooklyn and I see all of these signs that say no cash here in retail stores, because they want to ward off potential thieves. We don't have cash, you can't rob anything. Meanwhile, a dispensary now, because after this and all of that's happened and there's no relationship with banks, they're literally putting a huge sign on their door being like, we have so much
money
cash
in here.
Especially when they're making deposits or whatever. They're bringing like huge duffel bags of cash. They're huge targets. So that has been the main criticism of the cannabis industry, saying how are we still a pariah right now? Like 23 states have legalized it for recreational use for adults. Yeah,
national sales could exceed $57 billion annually by 2030, just from states where such sales are permitted. So exactly your point. It's legal in some states. And the deputy director of NORML has said, hey, no industry can operate safely, transparently, or effectively without access to banks. There's also some other weed news that you were telling me about.
There is. I was reading an article over the weekend, and the headline went something like, "Weak weed is threatening to wipe out billions from cannabis companies." And there is a pathogen that's contaminating cannabis crops going around. It's called hop latent viroid, or HLVD. And it's basically reducing every cannabis crop to mids.
Yeah, it's
actually, it's a serious problem. A bunch of cannabis companies warned on their earnings calls over the past few weeks that this, making weak weed would bite into their revenues. And it's already this industry is already going through a lot. A lot of investors had hoped that the federal government would legalize it by now, but that hasn't happened. That's been stalled. So you have companies like Tilray, which is maybe the biggest cannabis company stock that everyone was looking at over the past few years. Stock is down 90% because these ways to streamline and normalize and integrate the cannabis industry into broader financial system has just not panned out.
We're buying weak weed with cash again. 2009 is so back, Neal.
Hey. Thanks for watching, and if you want more Morning Brew Daily, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and also check out the rest of our episodes wherever you get your podcasts.
New episodes drop at 7 a.m. Eastern Monday through Friday, and you can email us at morningbrewdaily@morningbrew.com.